Welcome to the Jameson Files. I'm Carrie Weber, and it's a new year, so the likelihood is a lot of you are, if you haven't already, are starting to plan, strategize, set goals for the year of what you want to accomplish in your practices or in your businesses. And I'm excited to be with my teammate, Nate Porter, to kick off the podcasts for this year to talk all things marketing, because what we find is we have a lot of conversations with practices and business owners around this time of year looking to reset your strategy to accomplish better goals for the next year. And so we want to talk about how you can improve your marketing efforts, both through the resources that we provide at Jameson Marketing, but also the things that you can do on your own to improve your results. So new year, new goals. That's really cheesy, but I'm a cheesy person. And so we're going to kick things off like that. So Nate, thanks for jumping on a session with me today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about several things. Let's just go all over the place in marketing. Typically what we find happening is everybody's looking for that new shiny approach, that silver bullet to marketing efforts, trends that seem to be coming on the horizon. Do you want to demystify some of those trends, or what are the ones that people should actually be paying attention to and how?
Well, so some of that trend chasing is the reason that marketing companies sort of get a bad rap at times, because what tends to happen is something gets marketed well.
Yeah.
They put a shiny sort of spin on it, and then you find that it doesn't get you the results that you're looking for. Right now, that big buzzword is AI.
Oh, yeah.
So you hear that a lot. We hear that a lot. We see a lot of ads for AI-driven marketing strategies, and some of them are realistic, reasonable. AI does enable certain things with marketing, but a lot of it is buzz. A lot of it is fluff, as we would say. So I would certainly say that that's something that you're going to hear a lot about, but certainly would caution kind of believing everything you hear.
Yeah, but AI is all over the place in all aspects of business and time management or efficiency, all of those things. And, even in our personal lives using AI, I mean, that's what everybody's talking about. So what pieces of it should people be paying attention to and looking at in terms of how to apply it in their practices or their businesses?
Yeah, well, right now AI is primarily a derivative of stuff that's out there. So AI chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini or these other tools are built harvesting information from the web, sort of ingesting it, indexing it, so that when you query something, it can generate things.
Yeah.
It's great at summarizing things. It's great at idea generation. It's great at creating outlines and structure, maybe even refining content, that sort of thing. And so areas where people have found success with using AI are, idea generation for, let's say, an ad campaign,
right,
or idea generation for an email campaign, things like that. It doesn't create new ideas, new content, original work. So when it comes to, let's say, organic content, it's not the best tool for something like that. It can help. It can assist in idea generation and outlines, but in creating the actual content, it's not quite there for something like that yet.
So, and we've talked about this a lot in a different way, in a whole bunch of different conversations. And my takeaway is in marketing and in content creation, AI can be a helper, but one shouldn't put all of your eggs in that basket, because you still need that custom element for it to be unique for you and your content marketing efforts. Am I right in how?
Yeah. And the risk with AI, like you said, it's everywhere, right?
Right.
So the risk with AI is just like other terms that aren't very clearly defined, like SEO or things like that, is that it's sort of opaque. It sort of has this magic element to it that that people may not understand it, but they that has that buzz.
Right.
So you want to make sure you understand how it's being used, what it's doing, in order to identify whether it's actually beneficial to you or not, as opposed
Right.
to just, oh, it's AI, let's do it. You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
So that I feel like is a good transition piece. Talking about AI and how people are trying to utilize AI in a lot of ways, even in marketing, to make their efforts easier. Let's talk about what things that are still working and still work well that people in practices or businesses or marketing champions, whatever it may be, need to be taking into consideration when it comes to the things that they can do to help drive marketing success for their practices.
Yeah. So one thing that I would say, just sort of backing up and looking at trends as a whole, I have a lot of conversations with dental practices. And one thing that we're hearing a lot of, 10 years ago, if you were a dental practice in a small town, if you did, a minimal effort in marketing online or whatever, you had great results because you didn't have a lot of competition.
Right.
So what I'm hearing now is there's a lot of different sources of competition.
Right.
From, corporate dentistry, group practices, things like that. But in smaller towns, they're faced with this higher level of investment in marketing from their competitors and higher competition. So that being said, you may struggle to go head to head with those practices in terms of their marketing effort. So what you want to do is identify sort of a contrarian strategy of things that you can do that are uniquely valuable.
Okay.
One of those things would be really focusing on the internal marketing piece of it, where it's a little more human capital intensive, where you're putting more effort into that strategy, but the payoff is greater because these corporate competitors aren't putting the same level of effort into
Right.
those types of things. And so that can be things like just, generating good reports, for instance, from your practice management software of prescribed treatment that hasn't been accepted, or
Yes.
of, patients who are, a certain type of, whether they're insurance driven or whether they're fee for service, whatever that type of patient is. New year, new benefits, those types of things. So you're sort of wanting to niche down to sort of the highest payoff group of patients,
Right.
and putting personal outreach into those types of things.
Yeah, that has always been the case. I mean, some things really never do change, because while when you look at your practice performance, when you look at how your practice is doing, we often tend to gravitate towards, new patients, new patients, new patients, new patients, when we've always said you probably have more dentistry waiting to be done in your practice than you could ever do this year, or maybe even for the next 3 years, depending on how long your practice has been open. And what a lot of practices tend to miss the mark on is exactly to your point, Nate, is not just running the reports, but execution and follow-up. It's almost like team members, practices, doctors, they don't want to focus the energy in following up on dentistry that's been presented and not accepted. It almost feels easier to them to just keep pushing for new patient flow. But the fact of the matter is that it's less expensive for you to follow up on patients you already have than to do the investment of trying to have a continuous funnel of new patients coming in. And like in any business, if your funnel is patients coming in and then falling out the bottom, how do you ever grow if you can't capture those patients, help them say yes to treatment, help them stay active in your practice? And then the real beautiful thing is when they become raving fan patients and they refer more qualified new patients to your practice that are more likely to be interested in the way that you take care of patients.
Yeah. And a lot of times, there's the temptation is to outsource that effort, because
Yes.
it is time consuming. It is a little discouraging at times because you have a list of, let's say 100 patients that you're trying to target, and you may not have a roadmap of touch points and emails and text campaigns and things like that. And so you get discouraged, by outreach number 10, because
Right.
you're not getting a positive response that you wanted to hear. And so some of that is just a matter of knowing what to expect, having a plan in place, just following the steps as
Yes.
opposed to focusing on what the outcome is.
Yes.
Because, just like with any type of sales,
Yes.
you're going to have a lot of rejections for the yeses that you get.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So run reports, and it's not just for the sake of running reports. Study those reports and find out where the opportunities are in your practice for the next quarter, second quarter, from the patients you already have, and create a plan on how you're going to communicate to them, how you're going to follow up with them, and how you're going to continue to educate, motivate, and ultimately activate them into treatment. It is by far the easiest way. And the truth of the matter is, while yes, it's hard and it takes a little more grit and effort and persistence to take that track, it's really the recipe of small businesses. I mean, small businesses continue to sustain, grow, and thrive when they do the work to nurture the business opportunities that they have from within. So embrace that you're not simply a clinician. You are a small business looking to stay healthy this year, next year, and the next 10 years. And so do the work to not only attract those new patients, but to build your practice from within with the patients that have already decided to put their trust in you. So what else on that? While we're talking about internal marketing, what are some things that either you would encourage people to continue doing or do more intentionally, or perhaps there are some things that you want to also debunk in terms of the weight that practices put on particular efforts?
Well, we know that, the ADA says that a healthy dental practice generates about 60% of new patients from internal referrals. And so that's primarily driven from internal marketing. That's the conversations you have with your patients, the resources that you have at hand, whether that's at checkout, you may give them some informational resource that they can take with them, whatever that might be. But the key really is doing it consistently, because with any conversation, that first conversation that you have, the gut reaction is no.
Right.
That's just how we're programmed. So when they get that call from you that's friendly and encouraging of treatment, and they say no, don't take that as the end of that. We'll mark them off our list. They may then see something that they connect with on social media that you post, or they may be more open to the idea the second time you text them or call them. And so you just want to keep those touch points going. You don't want to do a one and done.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you have a plan to continually have touch points with those people, so at the right time they re-engage with you.
Yes. I mean, repetition is the key to any marketing success. Being repetitive in your presence online, being repetitive in your messages to your patients. A lot of times I think the mistake, and this is repetition in leadership, in communication with your team, if you're taking a new approach in your practice or your practice vision, all of those things take repetition, because it's an unfortunate assumption that you can think you can get a message to somebody one time and that's going to be the light bulb moment for that person. It takes multiple touches, multiple points of contact, and multiple hits of that message before it finally is going to resonate with a lot of people. And so, and I like your encouragement of don't give up once you get, and don't be discouraged if the first time is a no. It doesn't change the fact that that's either treatment that they've told you they want, or it's treatment that you've determined that they need. And so it's our responsibility as their healthcare provider to be confident and consistent in making sure that that message is being heard and considered. So I love that.
The other thing that can be discouraging is not having a roadmap. So if you're in a position where you're just trying things, and every time this kind of issue comes, to the consciousness, you're trying to think of something new, then you will easily become discouraged in doing that. And so having a clear roadmap is important. And that may be something that you can do. You can sit down and sort of say, over the next year, we're going to do this in Q1, we're going to do this in Q2. Or it could be something that you get some help with putting together. And that's what our marketing boot camp is really focused on, is giving you the tools and the roadmap to implement internal marketing across your practice, and kind of getting the team on board and being successful, measuring your results, all of those kind of things, practicing photography and social planning, all of that stuff.
What Nate's talking about is Jameson's going to be offering in May dental marketing boot camp. And so can you give it a little bit more detail on that event?
Yes. So the dental marketing boot camp is 2 days, and it's really targeted towards the whole team. So having multiple team members from your practice there would be great. The whole goal of it is focused time to practice your internal marketing skills. So that's everything from these communication workshops where we're sitting in small groups and we're practicing our verbal skills, how we talk to patients, how we sequence our conversations, how do we use the correct language so that we don't get the automatic no, but we encourage more conversation, all of that sort of thing. Photography, we'll have a professional photographer there helping you to get better photographs in your practice so that you have more quality content for social media that actually gets engagement, gets results. We're going to be talking about how to plan your year with social media. We'll give you templates and guidelines for that, so that when you are done with those 2 days, and we'll have review kind of throughout those 2 days, we'll talk about how to engage the team, how to lead this strategy. When you're done with those 2 days, you'll have a plan that's tailored to you that you can take home and implement in the practice.
Yeah, it really is. If you want to either add more in your own efforts to what you've been doing historically in marketing, or you don't have a clue where to even start, either way, this is a great course to be more intentional, to ensure that you are more consistent and that you are doing the right things in the right way, for the sake of your practice, your vision for your practice, and the goals that you hope to achieve in your marketing efforts and in your internal efforts of practice growth. So we'll put some information alongside this episode, so that anyone wants to go find more information, you can go to the website and look for the Jameson Dental Marketing Boot Camp. And we'd love to see you in Texas in May. I'll be there, Nate will be there, quite a few of the Jameson team members will be there participating and presenting and teaching. And so we're really excited for everyone that's going to join us in May for a really great marketing event. So as we kick off 2025, be aware of the trends and the things that are starting to happen when it comes to marketing. One thing that we've learned is marketing is always moving. It's always moving. And so the great thing about Nate and our teammates on the marketing side of Jameson is that we have a lot of passionately curious people that are continuously watching and assessing these trends to see what elements of those trends, like AI, make the most sense and can help improve results that are going to last. And so stay on top of those trends, but don't put all your eggs in the basket of a trend. Also, stay true and consistent with those proven approaches to growing your practice, growing your practice from within through those internal marketing efforts that Nate said. Those have been the proven proven approaches to practice growth for many, many years and will continue to be so for many years to come, because in the end it comes down to relationships to get the results that you're looking for. So anything else as we wrap things up?
The only thing I would say is consistency is key, and having a plan is key.
Yes.
So a lot of times we talk to practices who say, I need this result tomorrow.
Yes.
Well, consistency over time is where you're going to have consistent results. Quick results that are too expensive
Right.
in terms of investment. So if you want to have a result 6 months from now, start now. Get your plan in place. Start moving that,
Yes.
piece forward in the plan.
Intentional is always better than accidental. So make the plan, execute the plan, and believe in your consistent efforts. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So thanks, Nate. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to all of you for joining us for another episode. It's going to be a great year, and we've got a lot of great episodes that are going to be coming up. So stay connected to the Jameson Files community. Share our podcasts with your friends in the dental community so we can grow together and learn together and connect together. So thanks to Nate. Thanks to all of you, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Jameson Files. Visit us online at jmsn.com. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, or Spotify. See you next time.